around the hill. So you have to really kind of make decisive choices on if you're going to engage on these and actually take a fight, or if you want to just not get staggered out and let the cap come through. As we are going to have the initial ban out from Vinderive, going to be that Symmetra. So definitely makes sense to me. The Sim, of course, getting so much more playtime, but I think also on these escort maps where you don't necessarily have as much kind of vertical distance to go, the Sim TP is so nice for just avoiding a lot of that spam poke damage.
Absolutely. I mean, yeah, the verticality would be nice with those teleporters, but of course there are other characters that can use that verticality to their own advantage, so you're kind of just taking the easy way out of the whole team can easily rotate by themselves. Second ban gonna be Zarya here. And honestly, I kind of like it. I mean, it shows you that you're basically running that dive again. You want to ensure that there's not going to be a brawl versus brawl. Of course, we still could get Ramatra mirror, but for the most part, I'm thinking Winston and the Ana potentially.
Ooh, I do think that Shambali plays really nicely for double flex backline. The Ana Kiriko we get to see a little bit sometimes, not the Wu Yang, you know, kind of weird kind of flex slash main support, but I also think that could be an option here. The Zarya ban is big, definitely, from EXO. They saw that Vinderive wanted to play that momentarily, kind of on Lighthouse, and I do think that Amity looked pretty good on the Zarya. You know, maybe not having as good of a time into the matchup where the Zarya is not able to kind of control those high grounds, but, you know, technically looked very good, and mechanically. So banning that out here, definitely. I am also kind of leaning towards the dive. Yeah, I know, it's a good poke map too, though. Not that we've seen a lot of poke from either of these teams on Ilios, or any at all, really, but there's some really long sightlines on Shambali, and I think that heroes like Ashe and the Sojourn, even the Freya, I think all of them could play really, really well in here if either of these teams are kind of looking for more of that DPS duel rather than the tank matchup.
I think looking back at it now, like after I've had a few seconds to think about it, I feel like I'd almost rather a Ramatra ban in this raid, right? Because Amity was super strong on that Zarya, like you mentioned, and so taking her off of it, if it was some sort of failsafe, would be kind of, I don't want to say rough, but maybe just not the plan that they had calculated for, right? If you are going dive and it's not working, what do you go to next? Is it the Ramatra or is it the Zarya? And I think that if this ban has considered that, then they are moving to that Ramatra, which this would telegraph that. But if it's not, right, you're just kind of leaving Amity out to dry there. I feel like maybe there's some things you could argue either way. But anyways, we head into the map, and we get to see what they pick in the end. And for all we know, it'll be Junker Queen.
It's actually going to be Junker Queen, Lifeweaver, Bastion. I think that that's actually what the teams are sick of our nonsense meta compositions, and they just want to have some fun here. Map 2, you know, what are the stakes on map 2, really, right? We're not at match point yet. You can have fun. Sure, why not?
Hey, Rain, that gives me a great idea. You want to play in Con next year, and we can just be a team of one-tricks that just... I'll play Zenyatta. We'll get, I don't know, a Reinhardt or something like that, Bastion. Let's do Torb Sim.
Yeah, let's do the Torb Sim. Let's get some of that clockwork strat going on here once upon a time. But yeah, it would be fun. I do not think that we would get very far. You and I definitely not, Ari. I don't think that we're getting very far against these teams. I don't think it's happening.
Okay, well that's what Rising's for.
That's right. Yeah, there we go. That's more my speed.
Either way, yeah, for those of you who don't know, by the way, this is the Challengers division. There is a Rising division. I believe the rank is Diamond 5 and lower, or something of that sort?
Diamond 1, yeah.
Diamond 1 lower.
Yeah, so no, less than a Master's Peak to play in Rising.
So there you go. If you guys are curious and feel you may not be able to stack up to these pros, well, maybe try your hand in a different division, get that experience out for you. Exo Sakura and Vinderive, though. Hi, Cameron, let's talk, okay? let's talk. The Zenyatta. I really want to see it. Is it going to happen? No. Is this a bait? Yes. But I appreciate you giving some love to my boy.
Back in the days of old, the Lucio Zenyatta backline making a reappearance here, you know, for Watch 2. Oh. All right, yeah, Vinderive can figure out their composition for the attack. But Exo are locked in for this, for the defense, at least to start here. And it is going to be looking like we're going to get those Ramatra mirrors that we were thinking about here. Zoe on the Mei. Ivory is going to be over on that Freya. And, okay, Vinderive have walked. Yo, hurry. No, okay. Too much hope. Too much hope. It is going to be the Lucio here.
I knew better. Don't you get my hopes up. Don't you try. Yeah, Cameron swapping over to that Kiriko, of course. Makes sense in the terms of the current meta and all that's going on right now. But I like this play from Miss Sun, right? Obviously just kind of playing that off angle, applying that pressure just to make sure that players cannot just stand up at this high ground and have free range. Although it seems like they really do have that free range right now. I want to see a little bit more value out of this lurk, shall we call it? A little bit of a flank. Miss Sun is still kind of struggling to get their own, just in a standstill really for Vinderive. We kind of put it that way.
All there. So you need to kind of find a kill off the back of it though, and a headshot coming through.
Yeah, absolutely. Vinderive find their 3, and of course that will allow them to keep on walking forward. They'll take around that first corner, and now it's to the second corner that you mentioned, right? The 2 big hold spots. And, well, now you gotta try your hand at this. You got 3 minutes to burn. Right? Obviously, if you're looking towards that full hold on the first point, but I'm also looking at Sakura's ultimates, and I'm not really seeing anything too close. Granted, Vinderive not much closer in their own right.
They aren't, but they definitely do have a lot more kind of poke potential with this Echo Sojourn versus the Mei and the Freya. Although the Freya has more damage output, Zoe on this Mei, very utility based, right? You need to try and find the walls, and that's how you're trying to get the value out of this hero.
Let's see what we got going here. The Mei low at HP. Be careful, Zoe. I don't want to lose your life just quite yet. Said I don't think actually ever, but the Sun still again on this off angle, focusing beam potentially. No, that could be available very shortly. Then a tidal wave? Nope, it's instead Ebola, and that's going to be a shred on out. Mari very low on HP. The Annihilation popped. Instead, she finds no value. She instead finds the floor, and Zoe will fall as well. Vinderive very much proving that this is their map for a reason.
Yeah, really impressive. I'm loving this tempo that Vinderive is putting out. And the thing is, with the Exo Sakura's comp, you're playing around these walls, but Vinderive playing this Echo and the Sojourn means that you're always going to be kind of on the angle. So you're really only ever catching out Amity here. And the supports for Vinderive doing a great job making sure that she stays alive anytime she does end up getting split. And now you have every ult to work with for Vinderive, save for that Kitsune Rush. But good news for Exo Sakura is that Colleen does have that Kitsune Rush, so you have an opportunity here to kind of have the better of an engagement, especially on Shambali. Lots of long sight lines to make this happen.
I would be so annoyed by Miss Sun right now, by the way. Like, it's just a pesky flyer in the other corner, but now instead you focus in that main fight, and ults galore being popped, and eventually with the beat, the Kitsune Rush, an Annihilation, an Overclock, it eventually still ends up being Vinderive who have those numbers. And Regime, although do manage to get one, that will be all she wrote. Vinderive continuing to just walk on forward after winning these fights.
Yeah, haven't really been slowed down too much. You know, a couple of fights happening on the cart where, you know, you stop for just a moment, but ultimately Vinderive has come out on top in all of these fights so far, as we are going to have Exo Sakura coming back into this, but Vinderive held on to 2 of those ultimators.
Mei copy, yeah, Ice Block forced on out. Both walls actually out, stacked on top of each other, if you will. Not often you see that one with the copy wall being the lower one. Blizzard on out, though, it will still have the effect. Mari, hello and goodbye. He'll be sent back to the spawn room. Regime as well. Amity waking on up here. That Zarya was super strong, but the Ramatra potentially even better. Fisticuffs, if you will, now gonna be whacking away in that back line, and eventually the cap comes through that second segment. All but completed.
Ooh, just under 4 minutes to get through this third point for Vinderive. April is still holding on to this lead. Cameron's gone ahead and builds up to the Kitsune Rush as well. Both those support ultimates to work with. You can open with the Kitsune Rush and then use that beat to sustain through this next fight. Ivory, she has the Overclock, the only ultimate currently ready for Sakura, but Mari is building up to this Annihilation and Colleen for the Kitsune Rush, but I go ahead and commit this first.
Well, 3 strikes in your round. Give up on that target, go for a different one. Zoe will still fall in the end. Miss Sun punishes that, and the whip shots of the OC. But now, we get to the meat and potatoes of the fight, you're gonna have your tanks brawling it around. And Missun just hanging out towards their backline after they get that one-off angle pressure. They're feeling good to go. They don't need to go for a crazy other play. You have those numbers now. You just jump in together. But Kitsune Rush, that's going to be matched by a beat. Boop actually boots people away, but it does not matter. Pauline still falls into the Ravenous Vortex. Annihilations will both be popped, and it will be cleaned on up. Vindarive constantly just berating Axo Sakura with bullets and beams and ultimates, and is there even going to be a touch? Well, there is, at least in the final moments, but again, how much juice is there to it? You've got the stickies to tag on the one, you've got the block for the player still on this card, and 1.23 meters is what it will take. Beat still in place, so don't forget, they still have that extra HP, but the headshot meets to regime, and you're not going to be happy with that one, especially as now Bion will shred the rest of your remaining teammates. Ravenous Vortex will slow down anybody on that backside of the point. 1.23 meters, still the case, still the trickles, but as those despawn timers get longer and longer, you have to imagine it's all but over, and eventually it is. Vindarive, full cap with 2 minutes on the clock left.
Yeah, 2 minutes is so fantastic. A little bit of stall at the very end there. You have to anticipate that's going to happen on any of these escort or hybrid maps, but ultimately the momentum just in the favor of Vindarive there, and Axo Sakura really caught on the back foot here. I mean, just look in the difference of these stats, Ari.
I'm looking.
Amity is 27 elims, 27-1. Cameron didn't die. Like, this is absolutely incredible numbers coming out here for Vindarive. And unfortunately, Axo Sakura, it just felt like they were always the ones trying to react here. We saw Mari kind of using those annihilations late in the fight to just try and stay alive, and it just wasn't quite enough to kind of keep in the fights, and Vindarive just barreling forward, honestly. Just didn't really get stopped until like the very end. I think the most time that was burnt off was at the very end of Shambali.
See, you were saying look at the stats, and I was like, I don't see anything crazy. I was looking at the other half, which was
healing, the
damage, the healing and the damage. But that goes to show you though that if they're doing about the same amount of damage, and one team is somehow pulling out 27 limbs or something like that, something is not going right on the side of Axo Sakura, whether that is, positioning, whether it's maybe not on the right characters, or just the target priority is off. Pauline, don't mess with me again. I know you're baiting. No. Okay, you're going for a...
Okay.
Oh, whoa!
Okay, Pauline showing us where it's at. Oh my.
Well, that was so cool. You should, stick to the Zenyatta. No.
I take it, okay, getting out April is really big here because that is the speed here for Vindarive to try and kite out of these engagements.
Never actually seen that been done before, so congrats. I was not expecting that 5-orb to go the way that it does. Missun unfortunately falls a little bit down. Vindarive are actually being pushed back to about as equal of a standard as you saw before from actually Sakura on their defense, struggling. But this is also, by the way, Mari on the Orisa, which we have not talked about, just a little bit different, something to shake up the scene, and honestly, I'm all for it, right? Axo Sakura, gotta do whatever you can to win, and if that is to pull out a wild card pick, then by all means, go for it.
Yeah, the Orisa's nice because you can do more damage to Amity coming from further away, but you need to cycle through these cooldowns really perfectly because Orisa, it can get burnt down so quickly once you're just kind of left out in the open with no Javelin, no Fortify.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it is a tough character to play, but that's why these gamers are the pros. They know what they're doing, and that's why we're the Joes yapping away instead and watching them play because they're absolutely insane. They can pull something out of nothing half the time, and Mari will be the first to find herself a pick in this fight. Ivory, of course, just spraying and praying away, but those railgun shots, they're going to come singing on through eventually. Just a few more moments, of course, before potential other pick. Will be that re-engage with the Kitsune Rush, though. We'll jump in all around this point. Sticky grenades, and focusing beams, and shields, and... I mean, there's so much going on. You got even a Terror Surge in the mix, and it's Mari constantly being the spearhead. And no, I'm not referring to the Javelin Spin, but still, Axo Sakura find themselves needing to match the pace of Vindarive, and they do.
Yeah, Mari looks fantastic on this Orisa. Vinderive is having a very, very hard time taking her down, and that's the beauty of the Orisa, is that you just have so much HP, so much armor, so much utility. As long as you're timing it right, it takes so many resources to take you down.
Ivory finds one with the overclock. Not sure where that exactly happened, but maybe there's just a bit too aggressive in their positioning, potentially. Either way, is that a copy? Missun pops it in a two-person down fight and is using it just to get out of dodge. Oh, okay, never mind. It's a swap. That's what that would be.
Oh, that's tactical, actually. Very big brain from Missun. Actually, she goes onto the Tracer just to get back to the spawn quickly. I like the Venture swap here. Trying to win more in this front line, right? We're talking about how strong the Orisa is, how much pressure that Mari is able to put onto Amity, but now having Missun on this Venture, that's when you're going to be able to push back.
I like the play there, but Mari could get punished for it. No, Regime with the speed, allowing Mari to get on out of there. Make sure nobody gets punished more than they should be. Of course, Zoe now going to be in there like swimwear. Pulse bomb available, waiting for that over health, and beats Brunei to the face. We'll have to reset just for a moment and wait for those blinks to come back. But finally, it feels like we do have a bit of a halt in the fight. Exo Sakura just knocked back a peg.
And now Vinderive have this Annihilation from Amity to come back into this next fight. Sakura playing a little bit slow. I expect they're trying to build up to this Kitsune Rush from Pauline, because that could be what you need to break through this corner.
Oh, Amity finds two, the Annihilation, Bion with a third, and there's the old Vinderive that we expected. Now, just don't see Knight. Just don't see Knight. Be careful. Okay, yeah. Okay, everything's good. Vinderive. They say, yes, this is our map pick. We are going to make sure that we end up winning it out. And sure, it took us a few seconds to get there in the end, but Missun, the off-angle pressure maybe not enough. Just needing that front line grunt damage.
Yeah, the Venture is working out excellent here for Vinderive. Even if she isn't showing up in the kill feed as much, Missun is doing a lot of damage, forcing Exo kind of to back up a little bit, rethink their strategy. Now, though, Terra Surge and this Kitsune Rush ready to go from Sakura. Mari, just with the Terra Surge alone could be enough as these dueling Kitsunes come out on the point.
There's the Terra Surge, the Suzu in the mix as well. Mari will fall, Regime as well. Vinderive, now 3 straight fights in a row where they have won things out. And sure, I guess the fights have been lost quick, so that is somewhat of a consolation for Exo Sakura, but yeah, you start looking towards, okay, if you're looking towards that 2-minute time bank that you need to match up, you've lost that pace for it.
Yeah, and committed ultimates into that losing fight as well, as Zoe is going to swap over to match on this Venture. But now, I mean, Vinderive are going to have both these DPS ults coming online. Ivory does have this overclock. We can see that Exo Sakura is pathing kind of towards this high ground. You want to get Ivory kind of up on a surprise angle here to catch Vinderive off guard, because they don't have a beat to work with.
See the 3-2-1 hard engage out there. Overclock is maybe it'll work. It looks a little bit risky, but in the end it does pay off. Regime and Mari each getting 1. Regime with 2, Mari with 2. Okay, and now Pauline with the final 5th. That's quick and easy apparently, as all these fights apparently are to beat. It's Vinderive to drop 1 now.
I love that flank from Ivory on the Sojourn. Although you don't necessarily get all the final blows from that overclock, you cause Vinderive to kind of back up, panic, and that is when Sakura Mari is able to just walk in on this Orisa. So really good job. Really good follow-up from Sakura to see that kind of engagement happening.
Let's see, overclock this one in by Bion, and at least meets the Orisa in the back lines. There you go. There's that secured elimination, just to make sure that, of course, that big HP target that usually propels the opponent's front line forward is not able to do that, and they have to be very slow to walk back. So, again, a nice time burner Vinderive to kind of work with there, and again, already taking that time advantage now if you were to look at a potential second half.
And also looking at these counter swaps that have come in, Missun moved over onto the Pharah here.
Zoe immediately off of that Venture over onto the Echo to try and put a little bit of pressure on Missun and just to try to help burn down Amity on this Ramatra that the Annihilation ready to go coming into this fight. Both beats available as well. I expect that we see the Annihilation in from Vinderive, probably a beat in response, but then April can just kind of go for that better beat and keep Vinderive aggressive.
I like this angle that Missun is taking. Be careful just not to step in at Ravenous Vortex or into Zoe's focusing beam, as that will most likely take you down to 0 HP. Zoe, once again, the back line. Sticky's unfortunately not going to tag on correctly. They'll pay with their life. And so again, now Exo Sakura could have been a bigger advantage, but now are kind of still in this position where they need to keep on being safe while they're pushing up here. Diligency is key, and so now as they work towards their final fight and eventually something to get them into this final sort of positioning of where they need to be successful.
But as overtime ticks down, Vinderive looking to shut down this push from EXO.
See overtime wick burning a little bit shorter there, but still doing A-okay. Amity holding strong, trying to preserve that Nemesis form for as long as possible before having to use it and having it be forced on out. Miss Sun, though, be careful. 92% of that ultimate, be sure. Want to get one off, and does find a stick. There you go. Ivory will fall. Bion finds another one with the OC on top of things. And it feels like the ult dump should be enough, although the Annihilation back from Zoe in that copy form could propel them in the correct direction. Amity is going to need to wake things up in her own right, but Zoe runs out of time in the copy. That ultimate, that Annihilation should have gone on longer, but unfortunately isn't available as, well, they're not the one playing Ramantra. They're on that Echo, and so now they're going to have to make that work happen. Unfortunately, they go down. The other players booped off for the point, and that means we have ourselves a 1-1 series so far.
Yeah, Vinderive picking up their own map win there. Huge for them to tie us up on this series. And, you know, we didn't get to see Shambali so far tonight, but after seeing this, oh my gosh, what a treat to get to see it. Both of these teams trying their best to kind of back and forth, right? But I think that this composition, this Ramatra comp that we had Vinderive coming out on, just working out a little bit better for them in the end, even though Mari kind of making that adjustment on the Orisa, the Ram just proving to be a little too powerful.
Yeah, I was questioning the ban at the beginning. We were saying the Zarya or the Ramantra, which one's it gonna be? And it was the Ramantra, and it looked great. So what does that mean? Go back in time, play Ramantra on the first time, and you're good. Problem solved, right? That's how that works, right? Okay, well, going into map 3, right, you're gonna have that map selection choice up and over to the other team. Again, the loser will always get to choose that map, and so now we start to cook up once again. We got the predictions, we've got everything we've said before. It's still standing true, but guess what? You're gonna hear it again because it's a 4th matchup, and that's what we gotta do.
We will be talking about maps, just so everyone's aware. It will be happening, and will happen again in this series. As I'm thinking, okay, I gotta think back to map number 1, right? Because that's where EXO Sakura won. So what did you do well in that series that you struggled with here on that map that you struggled with here on Shambali? And a lot of it has to be around this composition that you were playing. EXO Sakura looked really, really strong on that dive on Ilios, and then moving over into Shambali, not as easy to play that dive on those really long sight lines and some really hard corners, so a lot of poke damage coming through. So as we move into map number 3, I mean, just by, you know, definition, I feel like you have to go back over to where you were best. So I'm thinking we should go to a dive map here for map number 3 if we're Sakura.
Yeah, unfortunately, I guess you can't go to Dorado. So
Yeah.
that's not gonna happen, but maybe a Blizzard World?
Blizzard World?
Yeah.
I feel like we could do a Blizzard World. It's tough because it's like any of the push maps or the flashpoint maps, yes, you could play dive, but it's also very easy to just kind of play a brawl and force a brawl on those compositions. You could just force the Ramantra comp if you're Vinderive on either of those map types, which, I mean, is going to be a problem for EXO Sakura once we get to those maps 4 and 5 if you don't go there now. But that's when you can pull out the bans and everything, because you still have that Ramantra ban in your pocket, and I don't think that you're going to want to use it in map 3.
I mean, I guess this is now a glorified best of 3 or first to 2, as, you know, both teams have that information on the other team that they desire, and now you get to apply it, right? You get to say, okay, we both done our research, we now understand what is going to throw a wrench in our plans and what wrenches we need to throw in your plan, and so it will end up being, right, who can obviously show up to the day and make sure their mechanics are on point, and whoever's got some more heroes and like hero pool and all that stuff, but also, you know, just applying the information that you've learned, because sometimes it's a concept that we don't quite talk about often, but it can really be the key to just adjust on the fly, right? Whether it's the IGLing and the shot calling in that moment, or whether it is the compositional and just general approach to how you make in the game.
Yeah, and I think that that is like a key component of like what makes these players great is that you're able to make those adjustments like as you're going on. Because sometimes for us lower ranked players, it's hard to kind of recognize in the moment what is the biggest issue here for you. But these players, this is next level kind of thought process here. So we're even just in Shambali, I mean, seeing the counter picks on the DPS heroes that came through, seeing Mari move over onto the Sarisa, both teams have a really just solid understanding of how these compositions and these maps need to play. As I was thinking we were going to a dive map, but how could I? We didn't play King's Row yet, so we have to go to King's Row.
Right, this is obligatory. It's not
Yes.
in the rule book. It doesn't say it anywhere. But we all know you have to play King's Row. It's you get banned if you don't. This is a joke, by the way. Yeah, King's Row. Next up on the docket, and you start to wonder, okay, we talked about that dive being the idealized version for what Exo Sakura need to do, but I guess they can take it in terms of the bans, right? Maybe they want to ban out a Ramatra, something of that sort?
All right, yeah. So I believe that the way that this works is that Sakura picked the map, and then they can pick to either pick their side or pick their ban. So they actually have given the ban over to Vinterath for the first ban. Having this Freya banned out, so not going to be able to ban out a DPS here if you're Sakura, but I don't know. I don't think you go for the Ram ban. I think that you probably want to take that matchup, or even just have Mari play that Orisa again and just try to make some small adjustments to it, because it didn't look awful. It wasn't a bad matchup. It was just kind of everything else falling into place didn't work quite as well. So, but then it's like you don't really go for the support. You were running essentially the same supports for both teams as well. Oh, okay. We're going for the Ram ban. We are taking it out right now.
They really just said, you know what, screw you.
Actually, right?
Actually,
You don't know me.
Ramatra.
Okay. I mean, yeah, it definitely makes sense to me. I bet you would eventually ban the Ram. I think that, map number 3, where this isn't
the end of the line, you might end up wanting it back, but who knows, that you're gonna have to come out with the win for sure here if you're Sakura, because if you're gonna ban out this heavy hitter, yeah, you gotta make it count.
Yeah, I think that they will either opt for the Orisa if they feel the need, or, I mean, do we say Diva? Is that a thing that's potentially in the mix?
No, so true though. Mari's Diva was scary on Ilios, and the Ram definitely would make it hard to play the Diva. Not a direct counter into Diva, but that you're not gonna. I mean, we've seen it already today from the Diva Ram matchup. Is that the Diva doesn't have the point presence that the Ramatra has. So if you just force a fight on point, Diva is just gonna get lower and lower and lower, trying to stop that progress or to gain that progress coming through.
Of course, though, with Ramatra being removed, now you get a little bit easier of a time for that to happen. And of course, you could still just run up against Orisa, I guess, and 6.5 dozen in that regard. But now you come to a situation where you need to make something happen, right? You need to take initiative in terms of imposing your strategy on the other team, right? You cannot just let them get away with whatever they want to do. And if they do, well, you're going to be stuck playing a Ram Brawl. And obviously, right, that's not the case in this one, but you get my point. It's like, okay, that would be the repeat and the theme. So they've made at least the adjustment in terms of the ban. Now we also want to see it in terms of the play style on the field.
Yeah, and I think that's and Sakura can make that happen.
We just saw in Shambali, some really creative kind of flanks, having the overclock go all the way around the side. Like, the creativity is there for Sakura to kind of make these plays happen. It's just the timing of kind of getting it set up, because Vinderive move quickly. Like, they are coming up with plans and executing them very fast. Maybe not plans that are necessarily as creative as what Sakura is coming out with, but they're following through on them and they're finding the value. And in the end, that's what really matters. We are going to have Sakura out on the defense first here. Mari not going to be on that Diva, is going to opt for the Zarya instead. Does still kind of make sense with this Ramatra ban. The Zarya not going to brawl as well into that Ramatra that has the shield, that has the Nemesis form. So taking that out of the mix, we'll have a little bit of an easier time here. You are going to have Jeremy in as well, a little substitution here for Exo Sakura, and they are going to come in to play this Venture. I know that I have seen them play Venture a whole lot, so a real treat to get to see it here on King's Row.
It's a treat, but if you're on the other side of it, it is very annoying.
Yeah.
They are everywhere when it feels like you wish you knew where they were half the time. But we get into this first fight. Of course, we have some sonar darts going to be exchanged just to maybe give a hint at the positioning of where some players are at. Cameron, of course, up in this high ground. We got a Reaper out from his son, which is a bit different out on today, which we're happy to see. Of course, they will have to kind of fade on back to the shadows as they need to regroup, and well, Amity is going to go back to spawn, so that will be a very tough first fight, but at the same time, you have to just adapt now and you say, okay, do we want to keep everything? This is something we see time and time again in King's Row of, okay, do we want to swap up the comp? No, we're going to keep on going with it. And that opening pick on a Regime is pretty nice, because now you have that opener going into this fight after a soft reset.
Yep, and you have the speed from April as well, so Vinderive definitely able to out-tempo Sakura here, but ooh, April taken out, it just means even footing for these teams.
Let's see, Zarya v Zarya, who's gonna come out on top? It's Zarya! Boom! Wow, I can't believe it. It's actually Amity, though. One for Vinderive to push themselves into the W category and make sure they've started acquiring this percentage. Vinderive, it seemed like they didn't have as much control of this as we were seeing, but I guess it just fell in their lap. They must have just found an empty pick and saw the damage. The cooldowns were in their favor, and it didn't feel like they did anything crazy additional. They just ended up winning the fight.
Yeah, I feel like the difference maker there, Cameron, the Suzu timing onto Amity to keep her alive really did make the difference, because not only does your Zarya stay alive,
but you keep all of that charge as well. Exo Sakura, though, is so set up at this choke point. You're going to break through that choke point with a Kitsune.
I was like, oh yeah, choke point, that's going to be tough. And then we all saw it at the same time. We all realized exactly what would happen. And it feels like Regime, again, what is that? The third time they've gone down first? Right, it's not to pick on them, it's just the fact that, you know, you're looking at them to maybe farm that feed and make sure that they're here. Oh no. Oh no, that's a Graviton Surge used. I mean, it does find at least a one, but used in a lost fight? Is that going to be a swap off for Mari? Is that exactly what we're seeing? No.
No, looks like she is going to stick with it. Yeah, thought that she was going to be able to turn that because Polly did have the Kitsune Rush committed as well, but Cameron is hitting the headshots into that Graviton Surge, so Sakura not able to stay alive long enough to get value from that Kitsune Rush. Now Vinderive have the beat, Overclock, and Miss Sun is building up to this Blossom as well. We can see the Beyblade combo potentially coming out from this Speed plus Reaper.
Gotta love that. Of course, Ivory will just find an overclock. We'll just put a wrench in the plan of what's going on. We've got a skate battle, meanwhile, on the other side. April will fall victim in that one. Of course, Ivory gonna interrupt the battle between the two Lucios, but now, of course, Misun gonna try and back on up. We're gonna see a bit of a reset, maybe a TP back to the spawn if they feel the need to be safe. But instead, Vinderive have 3, almost 4 ultimates coming up. You'd expect them to just kind of use it, get around this corner, make sure they can secure this fight. And let's see what happens first. It is going to be all of these ults just burned right off the bat. I mean, the beat kind of counters all from both sides, and what does that leave us with? Kitsune Rush, which could still very well turn the tides. Let's see if it does, because we have that Kitsune Rush out right now. And they are going to walk on forward. The Suzu comes forward. Mari goes down. And there's the cap. Amity is on fire. Miss Sun doing high levels of damage with that speedy shot every which way. And, well, that's a quick team kill.
Well, alright. Vinderive throwing everything they had at that fight and making it work.
Because Jeremy is going to swap off of that Venture over onto the Pharah now for this third point. You're going to have some high ground to work around, and it's really just going to be Bion on this Sojourn from Vinderive to try and put some pressure onto Jeremy. But, you know, if Amity gets charged up enough, you're definitely going to be able to do the damage as well.
That's got to be the perk, right? Amity just jumping up to that high ground. I mean, that's verticality and a half. Obviously, full charge for both of these Zaryas here on point now, but who is going to make that first move or mistake? As we were seeing Graviton Surge pretty dang close to ready for Amity. There's Kitsune rush down the one way. Amity's just going to choose to back on out. Well, never mind. The decision made for them is to go back to spawn, and there's a nice few rail shots in the end for Ivory. So although that cart does get pushed a decent way past, Exo Sakura can still make up for it and have managed to hold on.
Alright, yeah. 3 minutes here for Vinderive to work with. Try and push this cart through this third point. Mari does have this Graviton Surge ready to go, and you can see that Sakura's holding out fairly close here, looking to get a nice quick fight kind of at this corner, so that even if you lose it, you have that opportunity to come in for another fight at the next one.
That's not going to go too well for you. Yeah, the Reaper is stuck in that one. Unfortunate. But again, two similar situations. It's just that Exo Sakura are on the winning side of it this time. Both Graviton Surges used right at... in tandem, right? I mean, they are just continuously just battering each other. And one of them ends up winning every time. I mean, that's how the game goes. But Amity, it feels like, has been on the right side of it for most. But Mari finally strikes back.
Yeah, with the help of the team from Sakura, both DPS ults ready to go here for Sakura to hold on to this point. Cameron is building up to the Kitsune rush. Vinderive has to play a little bit slow, but ooh, nice opening pick onto Jeremy here. This is an opportunity.
Overclock in the mix. What do we got? Well, everyone running away, apparently. I was waiting for something to happen, nothing happened, and then the overclock runs out, and now everyone starts to run back in. I mean, that's exactly what you expect from teams of this caliber. They just do not want to engage with something they probably cannot win. The beat. Oh no, Amity! The wall is just a little bit to your left, not the gap. Okay, well, they'll be falling a bit short there. And of course, Exo Sakura going to be very happy with that result. As now Vinderive having to farm up again. Are now burning time off their precious bank, and we're putting ourselves in territory where there is at least a potential for, you know, hypothetically, if Exo Sakura gets to the end with no time left, not a draw.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, Vinderive just not kind of finding the ebb and flow in that last fight that they really needed to. As soon as that beat came out, you really needed to back up, just didn't have the time.
Jeremy gets kicked on up by Bion. That's 2 now, and headshots galore coming out as well. Make that Aether. Beautiful, beautiful work by Bion. They're going to continue to keep on firing away. And magic stuff happening from Vinderive as they finally get that cart going in the right direction once more. So Sakura, now, final push.
Ooh, Bion's scary on that Sojourn, finding so many headshots there, allowing Amity to build up to this grab. You have the beat as well, but Mari is getting the grab online very, very shortly as well. It's a matter of who's going to be able to hit it first, and are you going to be able to get the kills?
Well, that's a fire barrage. Not sure where that one came from, but it does take down Amity. Bion, though, finding 2, and then the beat on top. That is going to spell disaster for Exo Sakura, as there's probably, what, 1 player left? There's a Baptiste copy in there. I didn't even know we had a Baptiste in this match, but it doesn't matter. Vinderive take it out anyway. 12 seconds left, which means they will have a chance if there is a full cap on the other side.
Yup, not quite in that overtime. Bion has looked so good on the Sojourn, and I'm really seeing that April is really coming alive on the Lucio as well. She is acting essentially like a Tracer would react with these Sojourners. We're seeing Bion hit the kind of either like railgun body shots or like maybe a headshot onto somebody that you don't quite find that a limb onto, and April just will fly in from nowhere and get that final blow. So I'm really loving this kind of synergy that I'm seeing between the main support and Bion, and that is really helping you win out a lot of these fights here for Vinderive. So nice to see here as it's going to be Exo Sakura's turn to see what they can get done on
You know, at this point, instead of guessing the comp, we may as well just guess what they're about to pretend to walk out in spawn of. Like,
true. Yeah. Oh, good. I was gonna guess then. Thank you, Pauline. Although, you know what, Pauline has shown us the Zenyatta instant pick. So you know what, I am impressed already. Don't know if you can find that same angle here on King's Row, but I would love to see it happen.
just go up to the top again and then just try and make it happen.
Wait, hold up. Is that why she went on to Lifeweaver? Did she GP up to the top? No. We are gonna have Jeremy up here though on this Pharah.
we are going to have the Lucio Kiriko backline for both teams. So the difference being the Sparrow versus the Echo here. So a lot of poke damage going to be available here for Jeremy, but Miss Sun, she's going to be able to kind of put some pressure on Jeremy, and having that focusing beam is really nice as well.
Oh, we're gonna get this rotation going on, most likely. Oh, no, I expected the tank to be along there with them, but no, instead it will just be the players in the front, in that front line, trying to do their best to hold strong and then go for this sort of pinch play, which Miss Sun will fall down first to Sylvia Zarya being shredded in the back line. Amity will fall, and this one was a quick fight, wasn't it? Exo Sakura will continue to just kind of do what they do, and eventually it should just go their way.
Yeah, the thing is, when you have this Pharah comp versus the Echo comp, is that the longer the fight goes on, the more that Jeremy is going to be able to just kind of put in this little chips of damage onto everybody, and if it goes on long enough, that's when Vindrive is kind of forced to back out here. So Exo Sakura picking up that first point, it feels like they more or less just kind of walked on in. Vindrive not able to kind of hold that forward choke point here. You're waiting for some members to come back to spawn, and really want to be able to kind of take this space away, because the more that Jeremy and Ivory have to work with, the more that they're going to be able to get.
We got here Miss Sun with the sticky grenades, should be able to do a decent amount of damage, if of course they do land. You saw maybe there was a chance Mari could have gotten punished in that positioning, but no, not going to happen. Instead, Jeremy into the back lines, maybe trying to punish the Echo. For a flick of a lifetime, that one will not happen. Yeah, the only time I'm hitting that is when I'm lucky, but maybe you're just better than I am. Either way, Exo Sakura have been honestly rolling through that first point and have not been stopped in terms of a hold. It's been sky battles galore.
Yeah, and so far going the way of Exo, especially Ivory taking out Miss Sun, you can see that Exo's just flooding forward looking for more.
Double Kitsune rush, you have to assume that's Zarya gonna go down, right? Surely. Oh no, it's gonna be the Graviton Surge, put the bubbles on out, and Suzu is perfect, good timing. Only losing the one in there. That'll be the rest of the players to clean things up. Ain't no way they're gonna already cap this first segment, the escort portion. I mean, they are, right? That's what, 5 minutes and change you're looking at?
Now it's Exo Sakura's turn to be like, this is why we picked this map. This is it, right? This is looking absolutely phenomenal. Graviton Surge ready to go. The Barrage nearly ready from Jeremy as well. We've seen that combo come through here. Amity is going to swap up here for this third point over onto the
Ooh, I think that might have been just for the touch, and it doesn't work out, so Amity will get punished for that. Of course, the tank goes back to spawn, but now there's so much else happening. I think it might have been a bit overkill, but I guess if you win the fight, you win the fight, so be it. Still 2 more ultimates to work with the Barrage as well. Jeremy, you have to assume, going to be in that high ground tunnel and just waiting for the right time to strike. Amity, realizing this is the case, swapped over to the Diva.
Okay. Yeah, you're going to try to get out here. Now, you are going to be able to defense matrix both of those DPS ultimates, but not if you get burned out by Mari.
You're just waiting for that DM to get shriveled on down so that you can use that Barrage. Remember, 1.55 meters. And where's that time that Jeremy wants to strike? Where is it? Let's see. I think it's going to be right about now. Yep, there we go. 1, 2, buckle my shoe. We've capped the point, and we're taking it all the way from 5 minutes and 1 second. I mean, bro.
You look at the time bank, and Sakura has gained 1 minute and 1 second from what they started with. That is a stellar time bank to work with, especially when Vinterave only have 1 minute in their time bank. This is looking pretty darn good for Sakura to pick up their map pick.
Right now, it's the white rabbit meme pointing at the clock. Like that's exactly what we've got going on right now.
Ooh, okay. Alright, Pauline. 2 deaths here. Yeah, actually, both the Kirikos with only 2 deaths. Really showing that she can, survive long enough, get the value. We are going to have Vindrive on the attack. Less time in the bank. Sakura deciding what are they going to lock in here for this 1 minute hold here on first point. That's what they're looking for. Ooh, a little something different out here as Regime is going to bring out the Wuyong instead of that Lucio. I think
especially if you're trying to go for kind of a full hold here, Wuyong makes a lot of sense. You're not going to have that speed and the mobility for your whole team, but you are going to be able to put out a lot of poke damage and pressure, which will combo nicely with both Ivory and Reaper, who are going to be putting out a whole bunch of damage as well. Vindarave on the attack now. 1 minute into the bank. It is going to be this Zarya composition that Tango and the Sojourn making a real difference.
Oh, I love that bubble. It's actually so nice. Amity gains plenty of charge from it. At least it appeared to be. Of course, now we'll have to run for their life as it will be chipped down to about 100 HP. Of course, Jeremy, the long-range shotguns, maybe not the most effective in this scenario, but of course, just trying to scare them away, shall we go with. Amity still hanging on for dear life. It'll be Ivory that first falls now, and now the Zarya battle commences. Now you have a battle where Mari needs to stay alive as long as possible. Regime will fall, and now 1 minute, although it's not a lot of time, they've got plenty now to work with as they've managed to cap the first point, and that was the initial goal, right? Now all of this is just kind of borrowed time.
That's right, overtime gonna start here for Vindarave. They need to keep at least one person on this payload the entire time. Sakura, very wise to just back off from that, let the cap come through so that you have all 5 members ready to go. You just need to win one fight now to stop this overtime and stop the push from this.
Of course, be careful that there's no Kitsune rush back in your faces through this choke, but potentially a lot of damage. 2 bubbles, I believe, still available for Mari on this Zarya. Very well see this one being taken offensively. Of course, they will just choose to let everyone else walk through this point, and then the team shall strike. The only question is when and where. And for Vindarave, right, they're just going to keep on outputting that damage. Missun close to that copy. If they can get that off, should be very, very good for themselves as they can withstand, stall, do whatever they got to do. Oh, no, I don't like that. It's going to be pretty dang low. Missun onto the Sojourn. I think that's who they meant to go for. OC now popped on out. Kitsune rush. Graviton surge. Almost a C9. But still the picks coming through anyway. Mari high charge. Picks up 3. 1 player to go. And the right click should be enough. And it is indeed. Big fight from Mari there. She is on fire. And 4 kills will finally let this hold come to a stop.
Yep, Exo Sakura just needed that Graviton Surge to come through from Mari, and that is, fight-winning ultimate. It really worked out for them. Big push, though. 1 minute on the clock. Not too bad here for Vindarave, but it's going to have to be a very stellar defense, and we didn't see them burn a whole lot of time off the clock on their first point hold, so maybe gonna want to change something up potentially here, because you're gonna have to withstand probably like 4 fights from Exo Sakura and then win another couple of fights on second point if Exo Sakura is able to cap it, because the payload did not push very far into second point. So if you lose 1 fight, you have to have that really long walk back from the spawn. I just don't think that you get a second fight on Streets phase if you get staggered out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's why you really can't even make like not simple mistakes, but you can't make those mistakes of just, getting picked off. Even if you do win that fight, right? That might be a quick recontest that comes in from Exo Sakura, and they push the advantage knowing you're a bit farther behind, things like that. I mean, of course, that being said, April's going to go to that Lucio. They want to make sure that they have the speed wherever they can. Pauline, go for the one shot. I don't know where it is, but go for it. I heard the orbs, and nope.
I love the Zen, the Widow, the Hanzo. Like, Exo Sakura knows that if they get 1 pick here, that is going to be, like, very difficult for Vindarave to come back in, but not going to find any of those nice and easy picks. Going to have to swap over onto the Sojourn, onto the Pharah. It's another rotation through Hotel for Sakura.
This time the Diva, which we mentioned, has a tougher time of just maintaining point presence. Now, however, it feels like they might just be going for picks or to flip the map, something of that sort, but Ari up to the high ground now. Actually drops back down, and kind of curious what's going on here, right? We're seeing that background rotation, we're just seeing the surround, but who's going to be the one to really get that initial pick? Oh, that was the big one. Jeremy supporting that one, cleaned up by Ivory. means that that is a big respawn, like we talked about. Mari is probably gonna go down here. Oh my gosh, Baby Diva, save of a lifetime. Go for the squish. Go for it. Got half, I'd assume, on somebody. And there we go. There's the picks that they expected to see. Primal Rage, by the way, already here. So that's a nice little flex to have. But unfortunately, Amity, remember, you have 500 HP now and no rest of your team remaining.
Yep. I like that Amity's running away here. If you're Vinderive, you don't necessarily have to go for this recontest. If you aren't going to be able to get a nice fight here, you might just want to play for a second. Nope, the Sun has swapped over onto the Tracer, so it looks like they want to try for the re-engage here.
I mean, best of luck. That's already the Suzu force down. Be careful, Lucio. One more bullet from this Pharah. You're going to see yourself back to the grave. Tracer now forced out the recall. You can see the long-range Sniper Monkey also being a factor, but Ivory, of course, has that overclock when they might feel it necessary. Coming up soon a rush. Fear it out both sides. Miss Sun, solid contest, a solid pick. Recalls, has the pulse bomb, not gonna use it quite yet. There's the Suzu, now you wanna use it. There's the stick. Wait, somehow gets out of that. Don't know how that happened, but either way, the picks go the way of Exo Sakura, and that should be a clean team fight win. Now, who's the one player remaining, and how far away are they?
Okay, looks like Amity is close here on that Winston for Vinderive. You can see that Mari is pushing up. She's just trying to scout out, trying to figure out who is around here for Vinderive. You are going to have to beat coming back in here, but Sakura have done such a good job holding all of their ultimates. And where you don't have to push the payload this far, again, it's just about winning kind of one fight, so you can essentially just go for the ult dump here. And I don't think that the beat from April is going to be able to stop everything.
I mean, we use a beat to what? In response to maybe a overclock? Oh, they're just gonna use it early. There it is. Okay, in response to the barrage. Okay, there we go. And the overclock. Actually, they're saying, hey, we don't care what it's in response to. We're just gonna pop it and hope that you dump as many ults as possible into this fight. Jeremy picks up the first now. Ion goes down 3 meters, 2 meters. Be careful, guys. Don't see 9, but it looks like maybe not many people are there to even contest in the first place. Kiri already burning the Suzu. Bomb into the air, and that should do it. A squish to end us off. Exo Sakura taking map number 3, bringing themselves to a total of 2, 1 away from bringing themselves into the next round.
Yeah, this is huge. Exo Sakura able to win out their map pick and the map where they did ban out that Ramantra. I think that being able to kind of play this Zarya and the Diva also from Mari definitely looking fantastic here for Sakura. So this is a big win for them. Not out of the woods just yet though, because of course we do still have Vinderive looking good. Not able to, you know, make as much space on that 1 minute as they maybe would have liked, but they did look really good on their initial attack here, so I'm definitely seeing that this next map pick where it's Vinderives, have to be careful if you're Sakura.
Okay, let's compare. We made the same kind of statement about this is why we picked this map. This is why it is our map pick, and they look dominant on each of their own. But let's compare them to each other, right? I think when it came down to it, Exo Sakura felt stronger on their map pick than, you know, the opposite way, and so that gives me a little bit of worry where it's like, is this a potential steal from Exo Sakura to just kind of take the game? That I don't know, but it starts to, you know, give you more and more faith, right?
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point. You know, Shambali Monastery did look really good for Vinderive, but I do think that Sakura put up more of a fight kind of on that map compared to Vinderive putting up a fight on King's Row for Sakura. So, especially thinking where the last 2 map types that we have here that Vinderive can choose from is going to be that push map or that flashpoint map. I don't know. You will at least have the Ramantra back in the mix if you want, but it's going to come down to just kind of really small little details, I think, to see who's going to get the edge in this next one.
Well, let's add on to that really quick. I mean, on top of that, right? If we go this back and forth pattern of if you win your map pick, you win it, yada yada. That would mean that Exo Sakura, up 2-1 already, should take the series, if that's the case. So there needs to be a step up from Vinderive. We'll see if that is the case. Of course, we are going to jump to a quick break. We've had our 3 maps. We're going Well, we are back 3 maps down, a potential 2 more to go before the night is over. So I guess you might be out of time right now, but you can still connect your Battle.net to maybe catch up on those drops, just in case you haven't. There might be an hour left in the stream, you never know, but either way, let's get this back underway. This matchup has been absurd. Vindarive have bounced back and forth, but Exo Sakura have been the ones out on top.
It's been so close on so many of these maps, but King's Row is where Sakura really locked in. That 5-minute time bank on the overtime push, just too much for Vindarive to handle. The 5-4 victory, meaning that once again, we are back over to Vindarive's map pick. The last time worked out great for them on Shambali, but now working with Push and Flashpoint, and looks like they have opted to take us to the Flashpoint map type. So regardless of which one we end up on, okay, it's gonna be a repeat of New Junk City here on the stream for everybody. But yeah, I think that we're still gonna kind of end up back over on these brawl compositions that we've seen these teams more so opt for on Shambali.
I mean, again, no Ramatra ban, at least for Exo Sakura. Of course, we could see a potential ban of Ramatra from Vindarive, you know, depending on how they feel about it. I'm just curious, right? Like, it's one of those things where we've talked about everything, we've kind of laid it out, we've seen that it was Exo Sakura to flourish on their map pick, but was it because the Ramatra was gone, or was it just because they felt really good on King's Row? Either way, I think that this ban is going to hold a lot of weight, and we are going to see it matter in the grand scheme of things. I mean, of course, all of these bans do matter, but, like, this one, I feel like, is the heavy hitter of the whole series.
Yeah, I agree. Heading into New Junk City, there's a very kind of specified type of style that we're going to end up on here. It's probably not going to be dive. It's probably not going to be poke. So you're looking at, you know, what can you ban out in a brawl composition that isn't also going to be shooting yourself in the foot? We're probably not going to see the Lucio ban come out. We're probably not going to see the Kiriko ban come out. I think that if I'm Vindarive, I'm probably more so targeting one of these DPS. But the DPS ban that I think would make sense, the Venture, we actually saw Exo Sakura sub Jeremy in to play that, so they could potentially just sub Jeremy out, right? Put Zoe back into the mix here for New Junk City. It's kind of having that flexibility is really, really helpful when it comes to these bans.
Yeah, I'd actually pretty much agree there. I mean, again, you don't really want to ban the supports because everybody is running the same kind of thing all the time. And then as for the tanks, you only have so many options left to really control it. It becomes kind of a second priority. Which DPS is giving you the biggest set of problems right now? And is it that Venture? Is it the Sojourn? Is it Freya? Which, of course, they couldn't ban. But, you know, you keep kind of thinking those different ways. And you're like, I don't really know anymore. So they must be cooking something up, because this could very well spell their defeat in this matchup, right? They are on match point for the opposing side, which means they need to salvage whatever they can here to get the victory.
Yeah, just got word also that Zoe will be subbing in for Jeremy here for Exo Sakura. So if you're Vindarive, you're probably, no, you're still gonna go for that Venture ban, expecting that maybe Zoe or Ivory would be pulling it out. And oh, okay, Sakura kind of cooking here. They are gonna come out with that Lucio ban, despite playing Lucio throughout this entire series.
I actually love this, though. Just like the roster move of swapping out Jeremy for Zoe onto the Tracer, most likely was what they will be playing. And then you get rid of the Lucio, which means that the positioning is going to be even more key. You can't just get out of dodge in every which way. I mean, granted, we saw, what was it, a Moira in our first matchup today?
We did, yes.
So you can kind of go any which way. I mean, that's a good character to reposition on, so don't get me wrong. But it's like, okay, Tracer, if that's the name of the game that you're trying to run here, which is relatively telegraphed because Zoe's in this match. Now, how do you play around that in terms of the tank lineup?
Yeah, that's the question, right? I think that I've been saying, brawl, 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 but I do think you could potentially still run the diva here. I think that the issue runs into if you run the diva that there's some pretty solid counters to the diva. The Zarya is still on the table. The Ramatra also can be kind of a counter to the diva where you just force a fight on those flash points themselves. But the diva can be nice for that heal potential. I also think, since Exo Sakura is the one that banned out the Lucio, I think we could potentially see Regime go over onto the Wuyong here. We saw it on King's Row, and the Wuyong can actually be a pretty strong impact to kind of pair with this Tracer, because you get, it's like a Zenyatta orb, right? You can just send Tracer off on her own and she'll just do the damage and get the healing.
Not only that, but the same kind of logic as the railgun from a soldier, and combined with the tickle of the Tracer in the end, right? You land one solid orb, you say, oh, this is the target I'm going after. Boom, all you need to do is land a few shots and you can get out of the dodge. So, again, I'm liking that. I feel like that is a very solid strategy. Of course, Regime hovering the Brigitte, but then again, Mari hovering the Malga. So, do with that information what you will.
This is a throwback. The Malga with the Brig Juno.
Fascinating. It's potentially an option here, as Outwin Derive looking a little bit more standard here for what I'm expecting. Miss Sun is on the sim. He just for the TPO, but alright. It's Malga time. It is Malga time here for Exo Sakura, as Miss Sun is going to swap over onto the Reaper. So, especially comboed with Zoe over on this Genji, Exo Sakura needs to be looking for super strong engages with this Malga.
I think they're trying to hard read the fact that, right, Ramatra is going to be there, so if you can kind of force out that shield, you're then just having free reign to do whatever you want, as well as these slams, right, can be really big with someone like a Genji. With Zoe on that Genji, and Ivory is going to pick up the first here, the soldier, and of course, just dealing out that damage. Mari finds two, just running in. You can do whatever you want, you're on Malga. Don't forget, that's how the character works, and finds three, almost a fourth. Runs out of bullets in the end, but not before everybody is dead and back to the spawn room. Oh boy, are we really going to see Malga mirror?
Could Amity be considering it? Maybe not. She's going to stick on the Ramatra at least for now, but I think the beauty of, having this Malga for Exo Sakura is that you can, not only can you just opt to just ignore the Ramatra charge past him, but when you get the Nemesis form out of Ramatra, that's when Mari on this Malga is really going to be able to kind of sustain herself, right? You're such a big target on that Ramatra that you get free charge after damaging from the Malga.
Yeah, all you need to do is just wait out that shield, or at least just play around it, right? As soon as someone peeks forward, you can use this over health or the regen that you're getting from just firing away and really see things go splendidly for you. Right now, the chase out over the Juno in the skies. No way, you're gonna fry them on down. They're burning, by the way. Yeah, there is the pick. And oh my gosh. I don't think Vindarive missed the Malga meta.
No. Is this Exo Sakura secret weapon? They're like, okay, we are at a match point here. It's Malga time. We've waited long enough, especially on Flashpoint, where you're forced to either take the fights on these flashpoints where Malga is still gonna have a good time, or you can just kind of play for control of these choke points. It's working out either way really well for Sakura. Haven't had to commit any ultimates. We are gonna move over to the second flashpoint, Junkyard. Vindarive going to be able to get set up in this choke first here. You have the Annihilation and the Blossom to work with. You just need to find some space.
That's a lot of damage, though. There's a hard engagement from Vindarive, and they had the right idea. It's just now that Malga's back up to 1,000,000 HP. Cage fight in the mix. Oh my gosh. Maybe that's the strategy, but no, it's Miss Sun the opposite way. Gets tethered in and says, no, you're stuck in here with me. Zoe investing that Dragon Blade, but just not enough, and so this first capture should, in theory, go to Vindarive.
Huge Blossom from Miss Sun. She read that so well, using that to counter out the cage from Mari. It's not quite there for Vindarive, though, as Mari gets back into these fights so quickly on the Malga.
Yeah, you can just run on in. It's like a Reinhardt charge, but like extra super duper speedy. And with a whole lot of bullets on the side as well. It will be that first cap for Exo Sakura, and Vindarive, they put in a lot of effort to win that fight, and they said, what do you mean we don't get to reap the rewards from it? So, unfortunate for them.
Yeah, and now you're stuck at this choke point, and now this is the rally on the side of the Sakura, and
oh my!
Engage. The stop is massive.
Oh my, rally indeed now the mix, but just point blank distance, you really can't miss too many bullets. Big slam is going to be coming through, and I thought I'd be saying that on Reinhardt, but instead, we've got it on the Maga. Miss Sun goes down, Mari with 3, and even if there is a pesky little flip here, which was an attempt for, it will not matter in the end. Amity resetting themselves back to spawn, and I mean, this would be a way to end the day, that's for sure.
It really, really would. This Mauga composition from Sakura is looking so good. Mari, 70% up to another cage fight here. Miss Sun has swapped over onto the Symmetra, so trying to use these TPs to just kind of get around these choke points, trying to avoid getting stomped out.
I mean, this is just bullying, Mari. You can't be doing this to them like that. Amity, though, the Annihilation, at least having a chance to make a say here. Mari, of course, going to go down as that overclock is just going to chip away at her health. So much time and time again. Been derived, they win a fight, but now what do you have to deal with? It's a Juno ultimate, it's an overclock, it's a cage fight, and all you have left is a barrier roll.
This is it. It could be big from Miss Sun, though. It will be able to, you know, at least block out some of this overclock that's coming online. Maybe even try and save yourselves through the cage fight, although that's very, very risky. And you have to win multiple fights back to back because Exo Sakura is already at 99%.
Yeah, gonna be tough here, but see what they can get done. Zoe finds the initial hit, and now that means that cage fight is gonna be propped. Actually, yeah, it does kind of save them in this cage fight. Ideally, they get a little bit more value. Is, you know, you want to get those picks in as well, but Camera just gets slammed on down. Mari absorbing a bit too much damage. So now you do have Amity, maybe the only one left from their side. That orbital ray a bit too pungent, and that will spell disaster. Vindarive, well, they made a valiant attempt here, but the second flashpoint goes the way of Exo Sakura. One more, and they have secured the series for themselves.
Looking like we are not going to be walking too far to get to this next flashpoint. Bomb flats just right next door here. So Sakura have both these BTS alternates to hold on to this choke point. He's starting out with April. Oh no. Or Vindarive.
Well, there was an attempt. There was an attempt at that fight, and unfortunately it just did not go their way at all. No ultimates expended, I guess. That's the saving grace from either side, but again, if you're not forcing out ultimates from Exo Sakura, that means that Vindarive have got a few more things to now deal with in the unfortunately on running in, and there's the first 2 picks. They clean up whoever's left, and the speediness of Mari on this Maga is just unmatched.
It really can't be understated how important it is to get back into fights quickly on these flashpoint maps, especially when you are already in control of the flashpoint. Stalling these out for as long as possible is massive to increasing your chances of winning here. Now Sakura gonna have the orbital ray here from Pauline. Amity's still holding on to this Annihilation though. If you can just force a fight on the point, that's when you're gonna be able to stay with this for longest.
Final fight potentially in the series for Vindarive, and it's looking that way as that's the first 3 picks cleaned up with a 4th. And ladies and gentlemen, this might just be Maga Meta returning. It is here, at least in this matchup, but Exo Sakura with a statement win over their opponents. They said, we are here to play. We have cooked up our strategies. We've ran them down, and now we'll run you down on top of it. 3-1 in the series, and that concludes our 4th and final matchup of the day.
I honestly so much respect to Exo Sakura for like waiting just until the right moment to pull out this composition, and like this did not look like just a Hail Mary comp. This looked practice. The timing to get the big value on these Mauga comps cannot be understated. So really well done for them to kind of cook this up and bring it out when it really, really mattered. Very well deserved victory here for Exo Sakura.
I'm just thinking about that one engage towards the end. I think it was either 3rd or 4th point on that flashpoint. And you saw the Maga just run to the backline through that tunnel and just slam on all 5 people. And I'm like, dude, this is unfair. Like, it's crazy. I was never a Maga player. I still don't understand how people get so much value, but I can understand the annoyance of why that frontline presence is such a pain. Mari absolutely popping off. Congrats to her and the rest of her team, of course. But, I mean, let's shift away from the Maga, right? We've talked about it enough. What's something else that they did right, Rain?
Honestly, I think that there was lots of moments here for Exo Sakura that looked really good. I thought that on Ilios, their dive looked fantastic. Mari on the Diva looked fantastic. I think that the support line also really, really strong. The Kiriko especially able to kind of stay alive for a really long time when you're on that flex support, right? You want to be able to just not die, basically, which sounds so easy, but alas, when you are a flex support, it's never usually that simple. But able to kind of stay alive for so long, controlling angles really well. This Sakura team just looked very, very put together, kind of recognizing Mari as kind of that anchor point and everybody playing around her really well.
Yeah, I have to agree there. I mean, on top of that, you're running a 6-person roster with both Jeremy and Zoe, which hopefully, if we do get an interview, we will get to kind of talk to them and see if that's just an availability thing or if it is just that comfortability thing. Either way, I can't wait to see what that's going for. I'm just looking, double checking to make sure we do have an interview, and it looks like we do. So we're going to take a quick break, just a small one, and when we're back, we'll get the voices from our winners. Stay tuned. We'll be right back. Hello, hello. What a day it has been. 4 solid matchups, all of which providing us with some great content. Man, that final one really was a doozy, and let's not let the manga overshadow everything else. It really was a testament to all types of gameplay. Of course, my name is Arcast here with Rain. We'll have one final interview for you, but first, Rain, let us know what exactly happened throughout these 4 maps.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, so a super close one between Exo Sakura and Vinderive. Exo Sakura getting the better of things on Ilios, but nice clapback from Vinderive, moving us over onto Shambali, the first time we get to go onto that map today, and really showing how comfortable they were on that. Unfortunately for them, then it was over onto the map pick of Exo Sakura. Crazy close King's Row game, but the 5-minute time bank of Exo Sakura was just way too much for Vinderive to deal with in the overtime, so it was Sakura taking that. And then final map, it was going over to New Junk City, and surprise, surprise, Exo Sakura have a comp that they have not pulled out yet, that Mauga comp, just decimating Vinderive, giving the 3-1 for Exo.
So I'm sure you all have plenty of questions about what the deal was with certain compositions, so let's get ourselves going into an interview with the winning side. We will be joined by Regime. So hello, how are you doing? How are you feeling after the victory here today?
I'm feeling good. It was a long day. Too long.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you guys had to wait all the way. Thank you so much for your patience. It was so fun to get to have you on the stream, though. We're really, really glad that we did. Coming into this matchup, before we went in, mentioning that Vinderive kind of a newcomer here, right? Coming into that LCQ. So did you and the team of Exo Sakura kind of have any idea of what you were going up against as you came into this match?
Not really. I knew, like, the players, like, all the players I respect, and I think they're all really good. More specifically, Cameron. They're, like, a newer player, but I think they're really, really good at Kiri. But I didn't know if they're, like, what their team was going to play. Like, we had no real scouting, so it was definitely, like, you know, a surprise for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, absolutely. And it was you guys that were swapping around, right? You guys had, what was it, 5 or 6 people now in that rotation.
Yeah.
Was that an availability thing? Is that by design? Give me the spiel.
I mean, we were swapping in only Zoe and Jeremy, and that was mostly just, like, hero pool flexibility. Like, Zoe's really good at Tracer, and then Jeremy's good at every flex DPS that, just, like, the rank style, like Venture, for example. So we were just doing it based off hero like, availability, I guess.
Yeah, I love that. Nice to have kind of the niche available to swap people in and out. Really, really helps, and it definitely showed in your guys' maps. Now, I would be amiss if we didn't talk about New Junk City. We got to see
The composition coming out. Everybody a little bit shocked, but walk us through Mauga composition. Is this something that your team has been cooking up? Is this something that you just decided to pull out and it worked out? How have you guys come to play this Mauga?
Honestly, so it's like a Joker card in our eyes, or at least in my eyes, where it's like, oh, we're going a map that we, like, don't really practice much, just ban, like, the most popular hero in the game, Lucio, and, like, every team falls over because everyone's a Lucio one trick on main support. So we just go Juno Brig, they don't know what to do, and then we kind of just run them over.
Brilliant.
Well, the strat's been leaked, so I hope it works again for you, because you showed your hand here.
Right.
Maybe you got something else cooked up for us that maybe you're only telling us half of it. Maybe next time you're going to show up with Zen, Bastion, and Lucio, right?
Man, I wish. That'd be fun.
All right. Well, with that being said, one final question for you. Since it has been a long day, do you have anything that you want to say to any teams coming up, whether it be your opponents now or in the future, and then any shout-outs to make to those who make the day special?
There's 2 things I want to say. Number 1, you can redeem your Molly bracelet by typing !M5RI bracelet in the Twitch chat. And also, Jeremy and I and Molly, we're actually all beefing. We don't like each other at all. We're just kind of here for the money.
Ooh. Oh, deep cuts here on Calling All Heroes. I love it. You guys have to be watching the broadcast to get this tea. Like, this is where you gotta be.
True. With all this tea, I thought we were talking about Cafe Violet. My bad. I'm sorry.
Ooh, I like that reference. It's a good reference.
Oh.
Well, with that being said, that is going to do it for the day. Thank you, Regime, for joining us. Congrats. Enjoy the rest of your night. Do you have any plans?
Thank you.
Go
Do
for them.
homework. I gotta do lots of homework.
Yep. I feel that. I feel that.
Mhm.
Right here. Yep. Well, thank you so much for joining us. Best of luck in the rest of the tournament. Hopefully, we'll have you back for another interview in the future, as that would mean you're in the W category. Well, it was a nice little end to things. It felt right. I feel like we got the closure we needed. We answered every question about the rotation, the MAGA, the rotation, the MAGA, and the MAGA. I think we covered everything.
Sakura beef that we didn't even know that we needed to know. So this is it, right? We've wrapped everything up in a nice little bow.
Absolutely. Love to see it. Well, with that being said, although it is a little bit late to claim them now, don't forget there still are drops. So if you want to attend some of the future broadcasts, I believe there is one tomorrow, make sure to connect your BattleNet so that you can claim the drops tomorrow. Of course, we did have some today, so enjoy those for those who did claim them. And yeah, Rain, any final thoughts?
Final thoughts, make sure, that you not only connect your account, but you have to show up as well tomorrow and next week as well. Thank you so much to everybody for coming out to support Calling All Heroes as well. It really makes a difference to these players to be able to get to showcase everybody from the women and marginalized gender communities here on Cast.
Let's take one last look at the bracket to see how things shaped up after today. We had 4 solid matchups, so don't forget, there was a lot that went on. First off, me and my friends gaming, 3-0 over Cafe Violet. Of course, Nightmare Clips over Fable, 3-1. Dreamland over Valentine, 3-2. And then most recently, Exo Sakura, 3-1 over Vinderive. And that's going to be your matchups. Keep your eyes peeled for those. Of course, they will be released on social media. I'm sure this bracket image will be everywhere, so keep your eyes peeled. Make sure to join the Discord as well if you want to keep up to date with that. And then if we head to the lower bracket as well, we'll see those matchups from the players who fell maybe a bit short today, but Cafe Violet and Fable, and then Valentine Dreamland. Still, every game you do not want to miss. There's storylines upon storylines that I'm sure the other yappers in the future could tell you plenty about.
Yeah, those yappers gonna be on stream tomorrow, at least some of them covering those upper round and lower round games. So 4 more matches to be seen on broadcast tomorrow, so definitely want to tune in and check those out.
Well, that's it. That's the bracket. So all we have to do is thank you. Thank you, the viewers, for making this broadcast special. I'm sure me and I think I can speak for Rain as well when we say we could not be happier to have you guys joining us and shedding light on this amazing competition and these players as well. Big shout out to all the admins, the observers, everyone who makes this production happen, as well as our lovely producer Pinecone. So big shout out to everyone behind the scenes you might not see. And then keep your eyes peeled for, the appers in the future. I know we're saying this like they're mystical beings, but their names are out there. So if you want to stay tuned, make sure to check out the X or Twitter and the Discord as well. Thank you all for watching. We will say goodnight to you all, as it's been a long day, so we'll see you all tomorrow. Peace out, everyone.